Hello, my name is Kalena. My presentation is titled Revised Dual Task Screen Elicits Significant Dual Task Costs in Motor and Cognitive Performance in Healthy Female Young Adult Athletes. My co-presenters are Cecilia Berkner, Dr. Brian Tracy, and Dr. Jacqueline Stevens. My research is a part of the SCORE, or Sports Concussion and Occupational Rehabilitation Lab at Colorado State University. Our target population is athletes with sports-related concussion, or SRC. Our lab aims to develop objective measures that are valid, sensitive, and specific that can be used to evaluate athletes for return to play after SRC. Current best practice for determining return to play includes self-reported symptoms and objective assessments, which include physical examination and cognitive assessment. While best practice would include both areas in assessment, many providers rely solely on self-reported symptoms when making return to play decisions. There are known limitations with current measures used. Athletes, especially high-performing athletes, are known to underreport SRC symptoms. Symptoms of SRC can be heterogeneous and are similar to other conditions such as the flu and asthma. Many objective assessments used have poor retest reliability, may rely on baseline testing, which is not always available, and be of insufficient difficulty for high-performing athletes. Recent research has focused on dual tasks to address some of the known limitations with objective evaluation. Dual tasks are those in which an athlete performs concurrent motor and cognitive tasks. Research surrounding dual tasks often discusses a dual task cost, which is poor dual task performance compared to single task performance. If you look at the two soccer goalies in the photos on this slide, the goalie in the top picture probably has better motor performance and is saving more goals than the goalie in the bottom picture, who is having to try to save goals while being distracted by the cat running towards him. Some advantages of dual tasks include the idea that they are more complex than single tasks. Because they're more complex, they have the potential to detect subtle residual deficits. Additionally, they may have higher ecological validity, as we know that playing a sport requires an athlete to use both motor and cognitive skills. While dual task measures have great potential for use with SRC, many dual task measures require expensive and cumbersome equipment, which does not translate well into clinical use. To address some of these limitations, we have developed the Dual Task Screen, or the DTS. The DTS was designed to be a brief measure that can be used with athletes, requiring only portable and low-cost instruments. The original DTS was made up of two main subtasks, an upper extremity subtask and a lower extremity subtask. Each subtask includes a single motor trial and a dual task trial. For the upper extremity, the single motor task was a wall toss task, and the dual task was the same wall toss task and performing serial 3 subtractions from a given number. Our motor outcome measure was the number of successful catches. For the lower extremity, the single motor task was an obstacle walk, and the dual task was the same obstacle walk and reciting the months of the year backward. Our motor outcome measure was gait speed measured in meters per second. There were a few limitations found in the pilot study with the original DTS. To address these limitations, we created the revised DTS. Like the original DTS, the revised DTS includes two subtasks, an upper extremity subtask and a lower extremity subtask. Instead of 2 trials, each subtask now includes 3 trials, including an added single cognitive trial. This allows us to calculate not only dual task motor costs, but also dual task cognitive costs. For the upper extremity, the single motor trial was a wall toss task, the single cognitive trial was a serial 7 subtraction task, and the dual task trial was completion of the wall toss task and serial 7 subtractions at the same time. Our outcome measures now include the number of catches and number of subtractions. For the lower extremity, the single motor trial was an obstacle walk, the single cognitive trial was verbal fluency, and the dual task trial was completion of the obstacle walk and verbal fluency tasks at the same time. For the lower extremity, we now use smart devices with accelerometry to allow for more precise and expanded gait data measurement. Our primary motor outcome is gait speed, and our cognitive outcome measure is the number of words produced. With the accelerometry, we are able to investigate secondary outcome measures as well, including number of steps, step length, step duration, and step duration variability. Our research study includes 19 healthy young adult female athletes with an average age of 19.74 years old. For our procedure, these participants came to a single laboratory visit to complete the revised DTS, which took less than 10 minutes. To compare single versus dual task performance, we used paired t-tests. On this slide, you can see the results of our upper extremity subtask. The graph on the left shows our motor outcome measure, or number of total successful catches. The graph on the right shows our cognitive outcome measure, or number of successful subtractions. In both graphs, the bar on the left represents the single task trial and the bar on the right represents the dual task trial. We found that our participants had significantly fewer catches and subtractions during the dual task trial when compared to the single task trial. This slide shows the results for our lower extremity subtask. Like the previous slide, the graph on the left shows our motor outcome measure, which is gait speed. The graph on the right shows our cognitive outcome measure, which is the number of words produced. We found that our participants had a significantly slower gait speed and produced fewer words during the dual task trial when compared to the single task trials. On this slide, you can see the results for our secondary motor outcome measures for our lower extremity subtask. We found that participants had more steps, a shorter step length, a longer step duration, and greater step duration variability during the dual task trial when compared to the single task trial. Our study shows that the DTS is a valid dual task measure as it elicits dual task motor and cognitive costs on both subtasks. Additionally, this study confirmed that the revised DTS can be administered and scored in less than 10 minutes, excluding the gait data, which currently requires extra analysis. Our study also confirmed that the use of smart device accelerometry can allow us to collect more precise gait data without substantial increase in cost or time. For future directions, we would like to expand our participants to include athletes with SRC in order to test the DTS's sensitivity to concussion-induced deficits. We have also created a neuroimaging compatible version of the DTS to understand the neural underpinnings of our motor and cognitive behavioral data. Thank you so much for listening.